What's with all the openness or the white spaces in your chart? Today we're talking about it.
Welcome to our living room and functioning
Human design
function.
and functional human design.
I'm subhumanal right now.
I'm Jes.
And I'm Reid. And it's actually functional human design.
But that's the name of the channel. They remember that.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about the openness. The openness in our charts. And some charts like mine, I am rather defined. I have 7 of 9 centers defined. And
I am less defined.
Right.
I have lots of undefined.
And in our family, we have that wide variety from radically undefined to really rather defined. And it's given me a lot of time to ponder. One of the first things I realized on this is the 2 areas that I'm undefined in. So my root is completely undefined, and my G center only has 1 gate coming out of it. And as I was looking at human design a number of years ago and was reflecting on it, it occurred to me that the vast majority of my teachings that I have developed over the course of my career are actually based in grounding and rootedness and identity. And I was like, oh my goodness, there's something here, because it appeared to me like our greatest gifts come from our undefined areas.
So it's like we have a need to work on a certain area in order to complete ourselves.
Right. Well, and there's so many words that get thrown around in today's society, like wholeness and like alignment and all of these words, and words mean things. And I could not, it's taken me some years to figure this stuff out, of playing with it. And what really occurred to me was that wholeness, these feelings of wholeness, not just a knowing of wholeness, but a deep feeling of adequacy, a deep feeling of confidence and knowing who we are, that comes from these feelings of wholeness. And wholeness comes from decisions. So when you look at a chart, a full chart, we should probably look at this one. There's a total of 64 gates. Now, there are only 26 possible placements, 13 on each side. And so we have a max of 26 possible placements, but then there's many people like myself, and you have this as well, where you have lots of gates that are doubled up or tripled up.
Yeah.
And so that gives you a lot less placements, because like I have 4 placements in the 40th gate, and it's like, wow, that's a lot of placements. So it kind of concentrates who we are, because our definedness is who we are. That is our personality. And it's really profound to be able to look at your personality and who you are. But the white spaces, the openness, is who you're not.
Right.
And what do you do with those white spaces?
Very good question.
Oh, I'm going to answer my own question.
Oh, perfect. And also, what is the significance of these gates, these hanging gates? I don't know why it reminds me of
we're gonna get
hanging
to that.
chads when they had election issues, like whenever that was, when I was a kid. It's like, what do we do with these hanging gates?
What do we do with
and
these hanging
open
gates?
areas?
And how do they interact?
Yeah.
So the openness is really the space where we need to make decisions. So we interact, like every time we go out in public, we're interacting with other people that are not like ourselves. And the moment our auras like touch, you get close to someone, you talk to the cashier, you like catch a vibe from each other. You can't help it. It's natural. It's how the universe functions. Like, these are laws. I didn't make this shit up. This is just how it works. And so when we interact with other people, we feel those gates, we feel those interactions, and it's up to us to make decisions with them. You know what? I was talking to one of our daughters yesterday, and I was like, she's like, oh, learning 64 gates seems like a lot. And I was like, what if I told you to understand all of the nuances of humanity, not just yourself? What if I told you that you could understand every person on the planet, success and failure and trauma and pain and all of the aspects of human nature you could understand by just making decisions with all 64 gates.
Whoa.
That if you just studied that one thing, 64 gates, you could understand all of humanity.
Yeah.
And she
believe
was like, that's not that big of a deal. Suddenly 64 isn't very hard.
Right.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
I love how she had that epiphany, like it's just not that hard, it's just 64.
Right.
And it can seem, for me in the beginning, it's like, this is kind of overwhelming, there's a lot to study here. But when I start to study it, I start to see the similarities and how it coincides with the I Ching and how it coincides with many things that I've been learning over the years around spirituality and how spirituality actually has a science to it.
Right.
Human design being the science of differentiation,
But
being able to identify.
It is science, and that's what I really love. I knew I put this book here for a reason. That's what I love about it, because so many times, especially in the spiritual woo-woo communities or Christianity, things get over-spiritualized. But what does that mean in the third dimension? Like, how do we apply that to our real life?
Like, are we here for the third dimension, or are we just floating through life and then waiting to die?
I don't think of human design as something spiritual at all, because it seems to me that everything begins where it ends. It's everything everywhere all at once, like a snake eating its tail, the eight, the infinity loop. Like, we have all of these things
The circle. The circle of life.
Yes. Yeah. All these things reinforce these same concepts, but what does that mean to actually integrate them? What does it mean to really understand it? So human design in itself is 4 more spiritual modalities, like astrology, the I Ching, the Hindu Brahmin tree of life, and the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah tree of life. Okay. And so those are the 4 more spiritual modalities. And then we have 4 scientific modalities, which is quantum mechanics, astronomy, genetics, and biochemistry. And that's why when Richard Rudd wrote the Gene Keys, it's called Gene Keys because this is like actual DNA, like your genes. This is the programming of your body. So I don't view it as spiritual, even though I am a deeply spiritual person. It's not spiritual teaching. It is understanding how to live this life in this third dimensional reality so that you can know who you are, know who you're not, and then so in those white spaces, the who you're not, what's so important right there is that you make decisions. You make because you can tap into that open space at any point because you can just make the decisions as to which are you going to choose, the shadow or the gift within this nature of human spirit, within this nature of who we are, because we interact with every single gate. We interact with every gate every year. If you look at like a sundial, it actually works on 64 weeks. And you go through each line, there's 6 lines of the I Ching, you go through each line of the 64 gates every single year. Yep. And so we interact with the entire spectrum every single year, and we interact with it when we come in contact with other people. Whoa, I was just ranting for a minute.
That's so exciting.
So the openness, simply put, openness means decisions. You have to make choices about how you're going to interact with those gates, and that's how you stand in your own integrity, because you have to make the choice. As I was going through it, in our household, we have 57 of the 64 gates. And as I was reading all 64 gates, it was occurring to me that, wow, I knew stories from my life where I made choices in each one of those gates. And that is what creates wholeness. It's that even though it's not me, even though I don't have it, I still have the ability to make a choice that when I interact with that gate in someone else or with someone else or in the planet, on the planet that we live on, that it exists and I know how to behave with it.
Yeah.
I know my own integrity.
Oh, I love this. It reminds me of all of the times that I was, when I just first studying human design and trying to break it down into, here's where I'm defined only.
Right.
But then missing the whole point of where I'm undefined and where people actually fill in with my life. And I want to get into that.
The hanging gates, yes.
The hanging gates and then the undefined areas, like my sacral is undefined, but I have hanging gates in my sacral.
Right.
What does that mean in regards to how we interact as humans? Like you have a defined sacral.
Right.
Another example is I have a number 10 in my G center. So
Right.
this is this identity. It's where we discover ourselves in community. So how do we do it outside of community? If our G center isn't defined, how do we connect these?
Yes, okay, I'm so excited. So there are two, I want to call them myths, but because they're way over spiritualized, we have a tendency to try to, as humans, we put words to things trying to explain our experiences, and we're all just making shit up. That's really the entire point of this planet, is that polarity that we exist within, and we're just making shit up trying to describe our experiences. So some of the myths that I truly believe are myths, because I can prove it with science, is this idea of twin flames and soulmates. And this is where those hanging gates are so important. So if you look at someone in the concept of soulmates is like, this person completes me. Whereas the concept of twin flames is, this person is me, we're a soul split.
Yeah.
And so both like have value. Like there's entire huge brands built on both of these concepts. But when you look at human design, when someone says they're a soulmate, what you're seeing and what you're feeling more specifically is that you have hanging gates. So a hanging gate is where in your chart, it's not a full channel. It's just like this little colored part. It's either black or red, and it's not connected to anything. And so when it's not connected to anything, that like lights you on fire, that you desire more than anything the other side of that gate. It's a deep longing. And so when someone comes into your life and they make that connection, it's like, oh, soulmates. You have this electric charge because now that channel, so a channel is when two gates connect. Now that channel is complete and it feels like they complete you. The thing is that there's millions of people that could complete you. They just do it in different ways.
Yeah.
And so when you have a hanging gate and it's on fire, it's like, I want this. I want that other side, but I can't find the other side. And then you find the other side and they come together and it feels so good. So for example, you and I, the reason why we work really well together, or it's a complete disaster, it's super extreme, it's because there's a circuit of integration. And that circuit of integration is the 20, the 57, the 34, and the 10. And I have 3 of those. So I have the 20, the 57, and the 34. But Reid has the 10. And so when we are apart, neither of us have a defined G center. And that means, so I feel like I'm lost in direction. I don't know which way I'm going. And I really don't feel very much love. Like in order for me to feel loved, I need that 10 to connect into the rest of my circuitry. And when that connects in a healthy way, it lights me on fire. I suddenly know exactly the direction for my life, for our lives. I know I feel loved. I feel expansive. And I have a knowing of who I am that I don't have when I first wake up in my bed alone and I'm all by myself. I don't have those feelings. And
That
yeah.
makes so much sense. It reminds me of what I feel with the sacral.
Right. Because your 10 taps into all my circuitry. If you know the chart, like the 10 comes in and it taps into my stuff, and then your sacral gets lit up.
My sacral gets lit up, and I realized that in this process of feeling good, I have a story of cutting myself off from not feeling good and cutting others off from not feeling good, if that's the shittiest thing around.
Self-sabotage.
Like, hey, check it out. It's the shittiest thing around. Like, try this out.
Don't.
And this is actually helping me understand how to let go of resentment, because I don't have to become something that I'm not in order to be complete. There could be areas of your life where, okay, I need to learn how to be more charismatic. I need to like really learn how to.
That's been a big one for
attract.
us.
And I have had times where I've been in entertainment, I've been, singing or whatever and covering songs, and I can bring that sacral energy, but it's because there's people with sacral energy around. Like if I can trace it back, it's because I'm feeling their sacral energy and I'm like, okay, now my sacral's is identifying with yours, and now my sacral's online. And it's so important to recognize that, because that can be a point of contention, especially when it comes to your vitality, and that's what the sacral's all about. It's like, what can I do for this planet? And when you have the identity of the G center attached, then you're suddenly like, okay, what can I do for this planet? I know what I can do for this planet, or I know what I can do for my family. I know what I can do for my community. And I love to be able to be humbled and to recognize that I am not complete, and I'm okay not being complete.
Right.
Wow, what a thing.
Wait, and you can gain that sacral energy by having we share energy. We have one son that has no motors, and he's obviously a projector, and he really needs that support. And so in the mornings he comes to me, it's like, okay, he wants a hug because I'm juicing him. I'm giving him my sacral energy and that power. And in that good long hug, he feels so much more power than he did prior. And so our energy is meant to be shared. We're not meant to be just isolated and alone. We're meant to share our energy. There was one other thing. I wanted to come to the twin flames, because we did Soulmates, where you have the two that match, but the twin flames myth.
The two that connect.
The two that connect.
Yeah.
So you and another person create this twin flame thing. I've got to turn this. Oh, my phone is ringing. But there's this whole other aspect where we have, where it's not soulmates, it's twin flames, and you feel like the same person. What this is, and we also had this problem, because we have 9 gates in common. So what that means is he was able to mask me very well. And so when you're in a relationship or you're around someone and they start to wear you as a mask, that whole twin flame concept is really just having commonality of gates. So because we have so many gates that are in common, it makes it really easy for us to blend into seemingly one person.
Yeah.
And that was one of the huge points for human design for me, was being able to see the difference between us and the gifts that we each have, even though we have a lot of commonality, and then we do match gates. I mean, we complete each other's gates in part. The feeling of not knowing what's me and what's you, that's because there's gates in common. And so whenever you're looking at a new relationship or a business partnership, to me, it's so important to take those feelings, because it's so easy to get lost. Oh, the word that they used to use when I was a kid was Twitter-pated. You would get all Twitter-pated. You're in love, that puppy love. You're all excited because someone completes you, or they feel just like you. You have all these commonalities, and that's really freaking awesome, except, does it last? Over the course of a long term, are they going to be in their alignment, or are they going to step in their shadows? Are they going to take these things that are like a twin flame, where our gates match, where they're the same gate, and many times for us it's the same hanging gate, so we have this crazy commonality.
We're incomplete together.
Right. And we have that where we resonate with each other. And yet we need to just look deeper, because now we can come into our logic and go, oh, okay, I'm feeling these feelings now. Is this relationship, is this business partnership actually healthy for me, or is it not?
Is this the real life, or is it just fantasy?
Right, exactly.
And that's where mirrors,
Right.
them being opposite, is what is most important to recognize. Because if I can see that you are a mirror for me, especially when you're in your shadows, it's like, oh, because now I'm seeing my shadows reflected back to me, and I'm going, wow, okay, that's how I actually am. How do I accept that? Well, accepting you is accepting me. But I'm seeing the difference in the I'm seeing the difference in this twin flame idea, where we have so much in common.
Right.
We can just totally relate. It's like, oh my God, you're the best because you're me.
Right.
It's so self-centered, right?
Right.
We're all self-centered. Let's just admit it. Like when we see that we have something that's us, we're like,
Right. That's so attractive.
and when we see, and then the polarity of it being the opposite of this possibility
like
of completion,
soulmates. Right.
then we have to look at we have to reflect on ourselves in a negative light, which means we have an opportunity for that person to show us something.
Right.
And that's where the depth of a relationship comes from. That's where we can go, am I going to fight to be like this person?
Right.
Fight to be opposite of this person? Or am I going to just accept that this is my reality, that it feels a certain way? Am I going to just sit with those feelings and identify that they have feelings too, and we are not the same person, and we are just growing together and separately?
Right. Well, each one of our gates, and this is whether we have it or not, because we have the entire chart. Just because my root is undefined doesn't mean I don't have a root.
Right.
It just means it's undefined. I have all of the channels. You have all 64 gates. It's just, how does it function for you?
It'd be like at a potluck, and it'd be like, well, somebody just brings a bunch of bowls, and they've got bowls. It's like, you did bring something, but they're empty. And somebody with a fruit salad is like, but I've got something in there. And then we start to identify what's in it versus what's not in it.
Right. And so, but when you have those empty bowls, you get to make choices. Yeah, and so you get to decide what goes into your empty bowl.
Yeah.
That's actually a great metaphor, because it's like each one of those centers, it has all these gates, and you can just decide, hey, I want this one in there.
Yeah.
Because every gate has this massive spectrum from this really dark shadow. Like, people are capable of really ugly things. Like, you don't have to turn on the news for more than 3 minutes to see how ugly humanity can be. Like, we are capable of extraordinarily heinous acts. And we are also capable of amazing, generous, kind, like uplifting acts. We as humans have this huge spectrum. And every single one of the 64 gates has this massive spectrum of choice. And this is our free will. We do not have a choice about our personality. We can't change that. But we do have a choice within that spectrum of definition and undefinition. And 64 really isn't that many to learn when you're thinking about, like, the pain that broken relationships cause, the pain that business ventures that don't work. Learning 64 gates does not seem that difficult when you're talking about, this could have saved me like 30 years of pain by understanding the 64 gates.
Taking a few years to support yourself is entirely worth it. Like, religion, how many verses do people remember?
How many scripture verses did you memorize?
Oh, I remembered it. I had to memorize at least 64.
Right.
And I had to take to heart a lot more than 64. Like, there was hundreds that I took to heart.
Right.
Like reading the Bible all the way through, or reading spiritual books all the way through.
Right.
Like,
And these are paradoxes. Each one of the gates is a paradox of choice. Like, what are we going to do when we face this? And then being able to make that decision consciously just changes everything.
yeah.
And so the moral of this story is that your greatest strengths, wow, your greatest strengths come from your openness, but it's also the most difficult to learn. They are the lessons in life because it's not a consistent energy for you. For me, the more open you are in your chart, the more lessons you're going to end up having to learn. And that's why it can be so difficult. Like with charts that are incredibly open, it's like there's a lot of education and learning and decisions, like conscious free will has to be utilized in this. But when you do that, the gifts are so much greater because of that expansive openness.
Yep. When we can listen, when we can see others and learn from them, and because of our openness and because they're defined in that area, it gives us opportunity for an entirely different kind of growth, for real growth. Yeah. And it just, I lost my train of thought.
Wait, and I think we're about done.
I think we're done.
Did we do
That's
this?
why.
High five. Okay. Thanks for joining us. Oh, and join our Skool community because that's where we actually like really get in and talk about this. All of the teaching. There's no like upsells. It's like just come into an affordable community, learn in community, grow together, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yes, join us.